In this video, we're converting and painting a Night Lord's Terror Squad. Hi all, and welcome to the cabin. Today it's time for part 6 of our series where we build a Night Lord's army for the Horus Heresy. With the army list finished, I really have to start building and painting the units I've chosen. So let's get to it. Here's another look at the army list. I'm going to go ahead and highlight what I've already painted in green so I can get an overview of what's left. Today I'm going to focus on the Terror Squad, which will feature a combination of Mark III and Mark VI armor. I want these to stand out from the tactical squads, so I'm going to convert them with a few different bits. First up, I'll be using the Legion-specific Mark VI helmets in resin. I think these skull masks work perfectly to represent a terror squad, and I'll also be using the old upgrade kit from Forge World to add some variety. These are no longer in production, but luckily I bought a few of them back in the day and kept them in my bits box. The same goes for these Legion-specific torsos that Forge World used to sell. They're not designed to be used with the new plastic kits, but in a minute I'll show you how I went about adapting them. I'm also going to use some of these Mark VI shoulder pads with Night Lord's iconography to help convey that these are elite troops. The squad will be assembled holding Volkite chargers and rotor cannons, but they also carry chain swords. So I decided to use these plastic swords from the old version of the Mark III kit. They're designed to be attached beneath the power unit on the back of the models, and I think they'll look great. Finally, I'll be using a few bits from the vampire line of the Galactic Knights designed by KF Studio. I love their flayed skin with bone trophies in various sizes that can be attached to arms, legs, shoulder pads, and also used as loincloths. Alright, let's start assembling. I didn't glue the two halves of the plastic torsos together, but instead used clippers to cut them off just above the belt. This isn't very hard if you want to try it yourself. Just take your time and cut from each side towards the middle. Already, the resin torso fits pretty well, but I used a hobby knife and file to ensure the cut was smooth. Then I simply attached the resin torso with superglue and made sure it was centered correctly. I removed the spherical bit on the back of the torso that was intended for use with the old-style power units. The new ones also have this little bit that needs to be cut off in order for everything to fit snugly. And with that, the trickiest part of the conversion is finished. Here's an example of a finished squad member with all the bits and pieces attached. I think it looks pretty cool. But I'll be keeping the weapons and extra gear separate in sub-assemblies to make the painting a bit easier. Okay, time to get the rest of the squad built using the tried and tested time-lapse. While I'm working away at these, let's check out some new lore that I've written for the squad. Cue Age of Darkness narrative voice. Nasz Vajik was recruited from Kroon in the Nostraman sector during the later years of the Great Crusade. As a youth, he displayed great skill with the blade and might have become a renowned champion in one of the other legions. However, due to the Night Lord's careless and swift process of psycho-conditioning and gene seed implantation, Nasz emerged as an Astartes of quite a different caliber. Gone was any ambition to fulfill his potential as a warrior, replaced by an utter lack of focus and discipline. He began his service as a legionary in the 103rd Company under Krukesh the Pale. On the field, Nasz commonly disobeyed orders in order to fulfill his own agendas. He gathered a few like-minded followers within the company, disrupting battle plans and openly challenging the authority of his captain. Krukesh did not tolerate rivals and ordered the execution of these rebellious elements within his forces. But Nasz and those loyal to him were prepared for the attack. They managed to defeat the judges sent by their captain, displaying the flayed corpses of their would-be executioners as a final act of defiance. About a dozen survivors joined Nasz as he deserted the 103rd, leaving them free to reave and raid on their own under the name the Slow Hand of Death. This occurred just after the destruction of Nostromo, when the bulk of the Night Lords were left to fend for themselves without their Primarch. Eventually, however, the ship of Nasz and his men was intercepted by the 67th Company. Ravos Taravak had heard the tale of these traitors and ordered they be brought to his throne in chains. Nasz defiantly stated that he would never wear Sinner's red and told Ravos that he would not submit to any lapdog of Krukish. But the captain of the 67th recognized the potential in these ravagers, stating he shared no kinship with Krukish and had no reason to do the bidding of his fellow captain. Ravos gave Nasz and his followers the chance to continue their reaving, now under the banner of the 67th. He demanded only bloodshed from them, and in return they could have their pick from the armories and the autonomy of where and how to strike during the upcoming battles. Nasz simply smiled, recognizing a kindred spirit in his new captain. Since that day, the slow hand of death has acted as a strike squad of the 67th, sowing fear and disrupting the plans of the enemy. And with that, the Terror Squad is assembled. I'm quite happy with these conversions, and now it's time to get some paint on them. If you're interested in my paint scheme, check out the previous parts in this series, particularly parts 2, 3, and 4. I followed the same steps for the most part, but towards the end I decided to adjust a few details. For the skulls and bones, I used Ushapti bone as a base coat, with a wash of Seraphim Sepia afterwards. To deepen the shadows, I applied Agrax Earthshade in the recesses. Finally, I highlighted them with Screaming Skull. The Nostroman cards and chest banners were base coated with Celestra Grey. I then shaded them with Nuln Oil and applied a highlight of Corax White. Using a fine detail brush, I finished them with a few Nostroman runes painted in Abaddon Black. I also decided to change up the bases by simply using PVA to add some base-ready Grimdark City rubble. Not only is this much faster than my old method, I also think it looks more realistic, which is a win-win. I'll probably go back and rebase my older models in this way as well. And with that, my Terror Squad is finished. They took a bit longer to complete than I had anticipated due to the conversion work and the extra details to paint, but I'm very pleased with how they turned out. Nasz and his slow hand of death are now ready to spread fear and wreak havoc behind enemy lines. The keen-eyed viewer might remember that the squad also includes an apothecary and a drop pod dedicated transport. Well, I haven't forgotten these, but you'll have to wait until the next episode in this series for that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on future content. A special thank you to Arnold over on Patreon. And if you want to go that extra mile and get some nice perks while helping us out, all our links are in the description below. We'll see you next time. Good luck with your miniatures.